This video is brought to you by TrueTech Tools, quality tools, essential support. And by RLS. RLS press fittings let you make a permanent and reliable mechanical connection in just 10 seconds without the need for brazing. The RLS press fittings were specifically designed and engineered for use in high-pressure HVAC and refrigeration systems. They are fully registered and listed to UL 207 for pressures up to 700 psi. For more information, go to rapidlockingsystem.com. How's it going, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I've got a no heat service call where I've already went out and diagnosed the problem. We've got a bad blower wheel and motor. So I'm gonna take you along with me and show you my process on how I replace that wheel and motor and check everything to make sure we're in full operation. Let's do some work. All right, so I've already got the blower assembly removed from the unit here. As you can see, it's real dirty, but we've got, if you can see that in there or not, but it's broken from the center piece. So this is spinning separately from the actual motor. So the wheel is definitely busted, and whenever there's a situation like this, I always replace the motor as well, just because I don't know what kind of stress that put the motor under. So I'll swap the motor out, new capacitor, and get this thing all cleaned up. When you're replacing a motor, the first thing you want to do is double check your specs and make sure everything is lined up before you waste a bunch of time installing it. So we want to make sure horsepower looks good, RPM looks good, voltage looks good, and your amp draw. This is an identical OEM motor. This is not aftermarket, so it should be identical, but you always want to make sure before you go down that path of getting a new motor installed. So that looks good. Let's see. So when it comes to these belly bands, what I like to do is just take a marker or scribe something. That way when you take it off, you know where it was sitting on the motor, so that way you can line it up on the next one. Yeah, these motors are the same size, so that way you know your depth. Once you put it back into that wheel, you're going to be in good shape. So, and also take note of where your wires come out compared to your bracket. So obviously that'll be easy to remember, because where we tighten it up here, that's where our wires are. So that'll be easy to remember that one. These off. Put this aside. I always work with the same orientation so I don't get myself mixed up. I'll look at where I scribed it. That looks to be about the same, so we should be good. good to go. Get all your feet installed. Double check all your feet, make sure they're not bound up or anything. And what's nice is that I've got this overhang in the unit here to where the feet aren't in my way. The motor can lay flat. That helps out a lot when you're sitting here trying to tighten everything up. Just be tighten up a little bit more. Be careful if you're using a drill like that. You don't want to over tighten it and break anything. So that looks pretty good. Now we can get the go ahead and get this old wheel out of the housing, get this sucker cleaned up, get everything put back together. Okay, so here's the new blower wheel. There's the old. So you can see I can sit here and spin it. Inside, it's completely broken. So now it's time to get this all cleaned up. This is looking pretty funky. So what I like to do when I'm cleaning these blower housings is kind of pre-soak them, hit them with the brush a little bit, and then get some cleaner out and get them real clean. inch. All right, so on the wiring, it's a little bit different from the old unit to the new unit. It's the same amount of wires, but they have different connections on them, and they are different colors. So what I decided to do was remove the old leads that came into the board, and then I just ran the wires from the motor directly in. Lowest speed is on park currently because we're not using that. And then high speed is hooked up to the actual board. And then the common wire goes to the contactor. So instead of trying to cut it and wiring out everything in here, less connections to me is always better. So I think this turned out to look a lot cleaner. And then the run capacitor, they actually gave me a round one, so it won't fit in here. But I did check it, and it is within spec, so it's good. But what I'm going to do is get one anyway and come back and swap that out. Because why not, you know? The parts are under warranty on this unit, so I would rather put a new capacitor with the new motor, but I want to make sure I get an oval one so it fits in there properly. But I've got everything wire tied. It's looking good. So I believe I'm ready to start this sucker up. So this motor is rated for 3.2 amps. Looks good to me. All right, so the original call was a no heat and the blower was not turning on. So the gas was firing up, but the blower would never turn on, and then it would trip on high limit. So once I got to looking at the blower section, that's when I found the blower wheel was just completely ripped apart from the hub compared to the rest of the blower wheel. So the motor was turning on, but it just wasn't obviously moving any air. Now, whenever I find a hub or a blower wheel that's like this and the motor's been running under, you know, a weird load like that, I always like to replace that motor, because more than likely a month, 2 months down the road, that motor could fail. So I don't want that to happen. So while we're in here, get the motor replaced, clean that housing and get it all fired up and check everything out. So I think everything went well. I do need to come back for that capacitor though, just because I want to make sure that it is new. But what I'm going to do is come back with that capacitor whenever I come to clean this unit on the cooling side. So it's a little too cold for the cooling maintenance yet. That's why we got the heat running. So once I come back with that, I'll swap that out and everything should be good to go. But for today, they're in good shape. All right, so there you go. That is my process on how I replace a blower wheel and motor and get everything checked out to make sure we're in good shape. Really hope you guys got something out of this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Until next time, see you guys later. Woo!